give me just 1 second of your time. I could tell you stories about my life. I've seen hope and I've seen struggle through these eyes. So give me just 1 second of your time.
To answer that, you first have to define marriage and the rules of marriage, that which makes marriage. Marriage is an institution created by God, which means by its nature it is holy. Number one, what were the rules of marriage? That answer comes in twofold. Just like there were rules of life, health, wealth, prior to sin, and rules of life, wealth, post sin. The plight of man is obviously to reconcile himself back to his creator, back to his original state. But that is not achieved by himself. Only God can do that by changing the body which man is in. That's why it is said, we shall not be the same, for we shall be changed. And the fight of spirituality and today's religion, by right, should be we are pursuing getting to a point of giving up self. When you give up self, it's only then and only then when you can hand over your life to Christ so that he lives in you. And for he cannot sin, then you will not what? Now, I'm saying that to make you understand that by man's efforts alone, beating sin is impossible. In fact, it will not happen. And in fact, even if it were to happen without the process proper of giving self, you are like the rich young ruler that Christ came and said, I have kept all the 10 commandments, the young man said. All of them. And Christ said, give up all that you have and go by king. Meaning even the reasons with which he was doing good. He was highlighting the process. Do you understand? Right. So now when that is said, I'm simply saying when we even identify marriage, we're talking about two different things. As much as we know that which is the gold standard, there's that which is reality. So I'm going to address that which is reality, because I'm saying unless your husband or your wife has attained that level of self discipleship and giving up self, and they no longer the ones that are living the life, Christ is living their life, they cannot stop themselves from sinning. That doesn't mean they won't go to heaven. Get me right. Heaven is when we go through saved by grace. It's a very different determination between those that are blameless and those that were saved by grace because they gave themselves to Christ and were remorseful for their sins. Right. So that being said, I am simply saying to you that we have an understanding that marriage is by right a union of two people to procreate and bring life, to create within and without that family unit a society. Society is made up of families, children and aunties and cousins, grandsons and grandchildren, and neighbors. Like that entire society comes from the family unit. So that was and that is the normal nature of marriage. However, society is an imperfect society, as we know. Lies, stealing, fornication, killing, lesbianism, gay, eh? That all forms part of our day-to-day society. Secondly, the denigration of the family unit has led to the denigration of the male. If you remember, I once spoke to you about that. You get in a room of 10 people, 10 guys and 10 girls, and the ideology is that if there are 10 girls who are not virgins, there are 10 guys slept with them. And I told you that's not the truth. It's usually 2 guys The other 8 are not eligible mates for those women. You understand what I'm saying? That's one of the biggest problems in our society, especially the black society, where they are emasculating, economically crippling the black male, and the viable mates are dwindling by the day. Yet the problem is further exacerbated that the natural edge for the female is attraction to the high value male, to the leader male. You understand? And when society has made it so that I can only be the only millionaire in my family of 400 men, hmm? That must kluma about the Ndebele people. You fail to mention more than 5 millionaires that you know. What does that mean if there is 2 of them that are known? You understand the dynamic in nature. So in an imperfect world, which is what we live in, it would be incredibly difficult to have that singularity element for the high value male or the eligible male, because also the population on its own is a 6 to 7 to 1 right now, and every single day is growing, and a man is eligible from 20 to 50-year-old women. It's not only just for a woman. You can be eligible between 20 to maybe 35, and next thing market reduces a little bit. For men, he's always on the market. You understand my point? So that creates a problem. However, I'll close your answer by saying the biggest takeaway has to be back to the spiritual element. For one to say, I want to keep the law of God, I want to stop lying, I want to stop sinning, they have to go against their nature, because by nature they are sinful. Any man born of woman is a sinner. He has to go through a lot of work to give up self-desire, self-needs, wanting anything for themselves, to give up that entire and say, whatever is the will of Christ. So for married men who have made a commitment to a woman that I will love you, protect you, honor you, provide for you, the commitment was not none of the singularity stuff, as much as it's supposed to be assumed and implied. It was not. But for the happiness, for the protection, for the peace, and the provision of that partner that you have, singularity becomes a necessity. For you cannot provide those things or kulumangas of protection, of peace of mind, of happiness without that element. Which means if you truly love the woman, you are going to put an effort against your very nature, because the nature of the man, whether you want to argue differently, is polygamous. He is designed to be attracted and excited at the multiple of women. And even once you have committed one, it never stops. What stops is your choices, but the attraction doesn't stop. What stops is that you never say hi or psst or come here or let me call you. You stop yourself from doing that, but the edge itself never dies, because that is which is natural. So for those to come to that point, it's a deliberate thing, and that is the testament of the marriage. When you are married, you've made a commitment, you've made a truce, you have made a dedicated effort of love. And you have to dedicate yourself to go against that nature of yours, of sinning, of fornicating, of being an infidel, and honor that relationship. Until such a time, we are all wholesome beings. Until such a time, we are sinless beings. Every single problem is unsolvable. So we can nitpick about infidelity, about polygamy, about thieving, about keeping the Sabbath. It doesn't matter, because it's a holistic approach. Yes.
To you who'd read my songs of war, and only hear of blood and fame, I'll say, you've heard it said before, war's hell. And if you doubt the same, today I found in Mametz wood a certain cure for lust of blood. Where, propped against a shattered trunk, in a great mess of things unclean, sat a dead Boche. He scowled and stunk, with clothes and face a sodden green. Big-bellied, spectacled, crop-haired, dribbling black blood from nose and beard.